Hello and welcome to 2 Minute Tuesdays, short videos providing you with tips, events, info, and education. Brought to you by Forgotten Artist Productions, studio and education, and full-service production company. Hi, this is Michael, and today I wanted to talk about an aspect of filmmaking. And this is something that I've been thinking about for years now. With many different art forms, whether it's poetry or visual art or photography or, let's say, theater making, and even filmmaking, there's a dual aspect to it. You're trying to capture artistically the subject, right? So, in terms of filmmaking, you're wanting to create the story, right? A visual story. If you're a visual artist, of course, you're wanting to, creatively present the image, right? And that's half of it, and so important, right? That's the reason why you're doing it. And the other half of that, the other side of that, is the technical aspect of that, right? Gaining skill, gaining craft, gaining the ability to express what you need to express in a certain way, right? And it's the same way with filmmaking. So with filmmaking, of course, you're trying to present a visual story, which is half of it and very important. But the other half is that you have to have a certain amount of skill and craft behind that, right? You have to learn the technical aspects of filmmaking, right? Or at least have some knowledge of that, depending on what your role, in the process is, right? So, for me as a filmmaker, especially an indie filmmaker, I've learned all aspects of filmmaking, right? Not just the visual story, not just the storytelling aspect, but I've spent a long time, many years, learning, the technical aspects of that in terms of how to prepare, a movie in pre-production, how to get the movie shot during production, how to get the movie visually put together in editing in post-production, right? These are all very technical things that you have to learn, and I've gained knowledge in all aspects of filmmaking, right? So when we're, going through that process, I'm able to prepare the story in a way that I want to do that. I'm able to shoot the movie in a way that, I want to shoot it this visually appealing during production. I've learned editing, to be able to put that story together in post-production. And both are important. Both are equal, right? The creative side, the storytelling side, and that technical side. But I've spent quite a bit of time, thinking about, do we actually, as filmmakers or storytellers get too caught up in one of those over the other? And because filmmaking is such a technical process, it's all about the equipment and knowing how it works, does that sometimes overshadow the importance of the storytelling? And I guess that's what I'm thinking about today, and maybe the tip that I want to offer, anyone who's thinking about becoming a filmmaker is, learn the craft, learn the skill, learn the technique, learn the equipment, learn all aspects of filmmaking, because it's valuable. It's going to help you a lot in the end. I've done it, and I'm so grateful that I've done it. But the point is, or the tip is, don't forget the story, right? Don't forget the visual story that you originally set out to tell. And how do you use all of that knowledge and all of that technique and all of that technical aspect to help you create the best possible visual story that you possibly can? And I just want to offer one example, just because I showed it in my class the other day. It was relevant to what we were talking about. I showed from 2005 Capote, which features or stars Philip Seymour Hoffman, and he is incredible in that role. I mean, it's a great story. It's a great complex character presented in a very talented performance, in my opinion. And we were watching that, and it had been a few years since I had seen it, but we were watching that movie, and I was just in awe again of the story that was being presented. I wasn't thinking about technical aspects. I wasn't thinking about equipment. I wasn't analyzing the movie like I do with so many things. It's hard for me to watch a movie. It's hard for me to watch a play anymore and not look at the technique behind it, right? It's only natural. But, for the first time in a long time, I was just able to sit there and enjoy the presentation of the story. And it's quiet, it's dark, right? It's a slow burn that unfolds, around this drama, around these characters. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I've still been thinking about it. And I was just reminded of how important the story is, right? Don't forget the visual story aspect. Don't forget the storytelling part of this whole thing and why you've set out to tell that story in the first place. Keep up with Forgotten Artist Productions at www.forgottenartistproductions.com, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And you can always email us at info@forgottenartistproductions.com.